So we've got everything turned off. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the all-new 2021 Lexus LS 500 F Sport. With that being said, let's just get right into the review. So under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 17 around town and then 27 on the highway, with power outputs being 416 horsepower and then 442 pound-feet of torque. And something that's pretty cool is just how the power is delivered. So you get that max torque at 1,600 RPMs, which is definitely low, and you feel it when you drive it. Now let's go over the front end of the LS 500. First off, this paint color looks fantastic. I know that I say that in a bunch of my reviews, but seriously, like, look at this, especially up close. You guys can see just how perfect that looks. It really accentuates the body lines on the LS. Anyways, coming down below, we've got the LED lights, we've got the really sharp accent light as well, and then notice we've got kind of like the accent venting here off to the side. Even though it's closed off, still looks really good. I love this trim down here, and we've got parking sensors also integrated into the front. We've got the Lexus logo that doubles as a sensor as well, and you guys will kind of notice here with this F Sport package, everything's a little bit darker, kind of makes it look a little bit sportier. But yeah, that's the front end. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 45mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels, and then in the back we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels as well. And something that's really cool is the coloration on the wheels actually matches the accenting there at the bottom of the front end. And yeah, I just think that's cool attention to detail. Also, notice how big the rotors are on the LS. Obviously, you got to have big rotors since it's a pretty heavy car. It weighs like almost 5,000 pounds. And so yeah, love the wheel design, love the coloration, love how it kind of like all ties in. We have our F Sport badge right there. And then the mirror's pretty interesting. So you guys will probably recognize this. Same exact mirror actually on the LC 500, but we've got the blacked out trim at the top. You've got the chrome in the center, and then we've got the red just down below. Notice we've got the chrome trim around the windows as well. And then notice here at the top how it's blacked out right there. You've got the sunroof, so the whole roof looks like it's all black. I think that's another nice little attention to detail. And then also with the door handles, well, it's kind of hard to see because of the lighting, sorry about that. Notice we've got chrome that kind of dissects them. And other than that, this is definitely a big car. Like you guys can see, just like absolutely massive. Okay, so let's see if we can get this to do this the first time. So the remote start on the Toyotas and the Lexuses is pretty interesting. You have to press the button a couple times, then hold it down, and then the light will blink. Also, we got it the first time. And then it'll start up. Pretty cool that we nailed that. And then if you want to shut it off, just press the lock button again, hold it, and then it'll shut off. Fancy. Now popping here into the cargo area, you guys will notice that we've got the Lexus logo on this rubber floor covering. We do have the first aid kit, which is no longer in its normal area. We'll just blame it on my driving. And then underneath here, we actually have this little area, which contains some cool stuff, but I just thought I'd show that to you guys, and it's actually kind of hard to get back into place. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much everything for the trunk area. It's massive. That's kind of expected because this is a large luxury sedan. And then to close the trunk, you just press that thing. And that's all. Now here's the rear end on the LS 500, and I will say this isn't my favorite Lexus rear end. I love the front end on this car, but the rear end, I think it's a little bit lacking in design. I think they did a much better job with like the RC, for example, and then also the IS, you know, from just a rear end design perspective. But anyways, we still have Lexus's check mark that's kind of integrated into the taillights, darkened here on the side. We've got another F Sport badge, LS 500, and then we've got our all-wheel drive badge as well. And then notice it also says F Sport right there. Parking sensors along here, and then you guys probably saw the covering there for the exhaust tip at the bottom. And yeah, other than that, that's the rear. Now this is where things get pretty exciting. We've got the door panel here, which notice we've got really nice leather, and they actually have some like stitching right there in the center portion. Alcantara with more stitching down below, and then leather down below. And even here is actually soft touch. You guys can kind of hear it's not the thickest, but I mean it's not just like exposed hard plastic, which is definitely a plus. Even like this part down here, it's soft touch, so that's pretty cool. Material wise here is really good. You've got the speaker there for the Mark Levinson sound system, looks fantastic. And then here are the seats. So you guys can see you've got a mix between the leather and the Alcantara. I think it looks great. You can see really nice trim right here on the sides. Pretty normal seat belts though. And then popping in here, well, this is probably the only time you'll ever see someone with socks and sandals sitting in the back of an LS 500. But you know what? It is what it is. Anyways, about 6 foot and legroom's great. Wow. Headroom, on the other hand, I'm like almost touching the top, so I guess that's a thing. And then you guys can see right here the storage space. Got some vents back here, have that little charging port, and then notice that you can do this with the back passenger. You can actually move the front seat, which I think is hilarious. But I mean, that's kind of a thing of these, you know, luxury cars where you're supposed to be chauffeured in. And then this is for the shade there in the rear. We've got some more storage space here, a couple of USBs as well. And yeah, I think it's a really comfortable place. I guess my only complaint is like the headroom is a little bit on the short side, so I guess that's my only complaint here for the back. Anyways, let's head to the front. Now here's the door panel in the front. You guys will notice it again. We've got the really nice leather here with the Alcantara and stitching down below, and then more leather and stitching. The same thing as what you got in the back, where it's soft touch, even on the lower portions that you're never really even going to look at. The one thing I'm a little bit disappointed about with the front door panels, the speaker doesn't look nearly as beautiful as what you get in the back. Like again, you guys saw the back speaker, beautifully designed, whereas this is just, you know, a normal looking speaker. We've got the memory seats right here, and then notice we got the door handle again, and then this trim right here, which I don't know, it looks pretty cool. And then here are the front seats, absolutely love them. So F Sport logo right there again, same design there with the Alcantara and the leather, and they just look absolutely fantastic. They're very comfortable as well. You've got the adjustments there on the side of the seat, Lexus plaque. You can see the pedals down below, look great. And then you've got kind of like your normal controls here. Most important one, heads-up display. Steering wheel is automatically adjustable, and I love this. You guys will see this a little bit later. But yeah, this trim right here looks fantastic. Got the vent above it, and then even right here, we've got leather. So they've used nice materials everywhere. That is the longest startup animation ever. Looks cool though. Now here's the steering wheel in the LS 500. We've got really nice leather at the top and at the bottom, and then perforated leather here on either side, so you get a little bit of a better grip with some contrasted stitching there in the center portion. Got the paddles there on the back. We have our cruise control on one side with the lane keep assist. We've got our volume controls, voice command controls, all that fun stuff. Turn signal / light stock, windshield wiper stock. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, it's the steering wheel area. Here is the gauge cluster in the LS 500. First off, we've got a snow mode, and then you can turn off the traction control. I'll show you guys the dials in just a moment. And then also you can move the gauge cluster side to side. Pretty cool feature with that. And then yeah, you've got the different menus you can scroll through on the vehicle. Pretty straightforward car stuff. And then the other drive modes is we have the comfort, and then we have the eco, and notice it doesn't really change all that much with the look. And then we've got our custom and our normal, but the cool modes, sport. And then the really cool one is the Sport Plus. And also there's a sound difference. You'll be able to hear it in the driving clip, but I wonder if the revving will sound different too, because they definitely pipe in audio with the Sport Plus mode. So, and then we'll see if it'll do it with the, yeah, it's not doing it right now, but you guys will be able to hear it when I do the driving portion with the car. They definitely pipe in audio. It's kind of funny. So here's the center infotainment system. It is a touchscreen, but you also can control it via a keypad. So Lexus gives you both sets of controls, so whichever you prefer. So for example, you can do both functions. Both work great. The touchscreen response time is fantastic, and then the keypad response time is also fantastic. And then as for the camera system, we have a regular backup camera, and then you've got the two different viewpoints with that camera, and then I'll pop from reverse to drive. Just pulls up with the screen, so it just kind of has that as the camera system. You guys probably noticed the Lexus clock there off to the side, but yeah, that's the infotainment system. Nothing too crazy. Now we'll go over my favorite part. We've got the stop start button. We have this beautiful trim that goes into the vents, and then it goes off to the side, which I don't know, I think that looks really nice. Just my favorite design detail in the entire car. Leather up here, and then notice the trim right there is blacked out that goes into the side vent right here, so I guess it kind of like matches with the screen. And then on the dash, there's more leather trim. This is the drive mode select, and then you've got the like snow mode select, and it kind of looks like a snail because like you've got the stalks at either side. Anyways, got the climate controls down here with the radio control, CD player. Got the shifter, which is pretty interesting. So popped over into reverse, so it's over and up, and then drive over and down, and then manual mode, just push it down again. And then if you want to go back into drive, you have to push it over and down. Takes a second to get used to, but not too bad. Got some cup holders right here. We've got the keypad for the infotainment system, and then this is the shortcut button to the seats. That's the adjustments for the seats. That's the temperature for the seats. The shade there in the rear. And then we have a very interesting center console. So you have the button for the driver's side, but then there's also a button on the passenger side. So like whoever wants to access the glove box, they can do that. That's smart for like how this glove box is, or rather center console. I don't know why I said glove box. We're going to the glove box next. Just, you know, give me a pass on that one. Anyways, most car manufacturers, they have these center consoles open up this way. It's just like, yep, deal with it. Whereas this, it's cool that it has both because it's like double hinged. Pretty interesting stuff. And then notice there's charging ports, and then there's some shelves and all that. Like I put my wallet there. Please don't steal from me. Anyways, notice we've got the more leather and stitching, and then you know, even down here is soft touch. So like material use is great in this car. And then it's actually a button right here, so you can see like there's the lock, hopefully. And then right in below that, you've got like the button, open up the glove box, lined with felt. Leather covers all of it. Like everything is covered in leather in this car. Popping up top, we've got the sunglass holder, more felt right here. We do have auto dimming mirrors, and then you guys can see really nice headliner, and it continues onto the pillars as well. So material use is great. We have an interesting sunroof situation. So we've got like the dual sunroof. There's another one there in the back. And then I wanted to wait till this to mention, this is actually mirrors here for the rear passengers, so the rear passengers can stare at themselves. And then I do want to mention the sound system sounds fantastic. One of the best sound systems in the automotive industry. So here's the window sticker. Notice Matador red for the color, pretty cool. But anyways, as normal, feel free to freeze the frame if you can read all the equipment that this car comes with, basically. And then this is for the F Sport package. So notice upgraded brakes, suspension, gives us the nice headliner, all that kind of stuff. And I will say, and we'll talk about this a little bit more with driving it, the suspension's definitely nice. It handles a little bit better than a regular LS. It's not a huge difference though, but it isn't really any firmer. But notice the base price, and then notice we have a couple of items added on top of that. So we've got our total MSRP here, $88,885. And yeah, let's take it out and see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here in the LS 500. So there's your visibility of the hood, and then also quick look at the heads-up display, which I'm not going to have on. There's your visibility through both of the mirrors, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And with all that being said, let's set off. We've got everything turned off. Yeah, it's quick, and again, that is everything turned off. So no traction control, no stability control, all the computers turn off. If you guys are wondering, just hold the stability control button down. You have to be parked for about, I would say 10 seconds, or a little bit under 10, maybe like 8 seconds, and then it'll turn everything off. And then we're on the Sport Plus, and you guys probably heard the difference. So again, I will go into the normal mode, and then just, I'm gonna slow down here, listen to how it sounds. So you guys can kind of hear there's not a whole lot of noise. And then if I go back over into the Sport Plus, and we'll get another kind of acceleration up here, you can hear a substantial difference in terms of how much noise comes into the cabin, and also the handling on this. Pretty good. Hopefully that pops through onto camera so you guys can hear there's definitely a difference. And now let's pop it into the manual mode, which for some reason it's not. There we go. Quick with the gear shifts. Yeah, especially right there you can really hear the sound. So in the manual mode, so we'll slow down again here so you can hear. Here it just has that kind of like engine drone sound, whereas again in the Sport Plus mode, yeah, definitely a big sound difference. Now I will say this 10-speed automatic is good. It's responsive. Like, click the paddle when you're on throttle, it's responsive, but if you're off throttle, It's a lot less responsive, so it kind of acts a little bit more like an older school torque converter automatic. It's not nearly as snappy as what you get in like the LC 500, for example. That one uses a different 10-speed automatic. So if you're used to that transmission, this is going to feel a little bit slower. It sounds good though. But let's talk about some other stuff that's important about this car rather than, you know, just the sporty driving aspect. So in terms of the ride quality, exceptionally smooth, and it doesn't do any weird creaks or anything. You guys know I had that G80 for a week, and that one kind of made some weird creaks and all that, whereas this does not. It's very, very smooth from a ride quality perspective, and you can just tell it's really well put together. And this road here I really like using because it's actually really bumpy. Tried to get it to power oversteer there, and the all-wheel drive gets so much grip that it just doesn't. This car does a really good job with grip, so I guess that's a huge plus if you plan on driving this in the snow. But continuing along, ride quality is great. Seats are very comfortable, and again, I've got the automatic seats on and the automatic climate control, so it's just doing everything for me. And yeah, it just lends to a really nice luxury driving experience, and I absolutely love it. Also, notice we're at 4,999 miles. We're gonna hit 5,000 miles in this car, which is I guess a pretty cool milestone in the middle of the review nonetheless. But yeah, really comfortable, really nice luxury car. Just absolutely destroys daily driving in a good way. I don't really have any complaints about it from a driving perspective. Like, I feel like the acceleration is more than adequate. I feel like it's, you know, quiet when it needs to be, and then you put it in the Sport Plus mode, it's a little bit louder. The steering is like the perfect amount of directness, but then when you're in the normal mode, it's really light. 5,000 miles, by the way. Yeah, it's really good overall. From a driving perspective, I think that Lexus has done a really good job with making this feel like a very nice luxury vehicle that, again, if you were to daily drive this, it would be a great experience. Now, I guess on the sporty side of things, since this is an F Sport, it's not terribly sporty. Like, yes, it's got a decently quick acceleration. Body control is great. There's like no perceivable body roll, but it's nearly 5,000 pounds, guys. Like, there's only so much you can do with a car that is this heavy. But I mean, it's still pretty, it's quick, it's pretty fun overall. So I guess if you want like a sportier version of the LS 500, then go for this F Sport package. It's kind of confusing to me because I'm like, who would buy an LS 500 and want it to be sporty? Like, I feel like if I was buying this car, I would want it to be more luxurious, like softer and all that. So this package, other than the fact that I guess this package kind of confused me a little bit, I think it's a fantastic luxury car. I think the pricing is great, under $90,000 for how many features you get. And yeah, that's the LS 500. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And again, I tried to, you know, do a little bit of a drift for you, but the all-wheel drive system in this is just too good. Oh, I guess speaking of that, why can't we get this in the IS or the RC? Lexus, I need an answer right away. Why can't I get this 10-speed automatic transmission with all-wheel drive in those cars if you can get it in this? I'm just saying, like, why not? And also, I guess this is a sneak peek to what we're getting with the Tundra, because the new Tundra is going to have this 10-speed automatic most likely, and then also this engine most likely. So I guess that in driving this and seeing the acceleration, you guys are also seeing what it's going to be like with the Tundra, because I mean, the Tundra will weigh in excess of 5,000 pounds and have about this much power. So I guess this is a sneak peek. Now that's going to sum things up for our video on this 2021 Lexus LS 500 with the F Sport package. With all that being said, I'll see all of you in the next video.